A former staffer accused of stealing money from late U.S. Senate candidate Max Linn received his sentence today in an Ellsworth courtroom. This follows a trial last month where a jury found Matthew McDonald guilty of theft by deception and theft by unauthorized taking. McDonald was sentenced to 3 years behind bars. He must also pay $100,000 in restitution. In 2021, Linn tasked McDonald with investing $225,000 in crypto. Instead, McDonald put that money toward personal expenses and crypto investing for himself. He ultimately lost the entire amount. Despite mitigating factors, including McDonald's mental health diagnosis, autoimmune disorder, and relying on disability payments for his income, the judge ruled the aggravating factors of McDonald's conduct, including lying to Linn and creating unsubstantiated allegations of Linn being abusive, threatening with a gun, and being involved in smuggling illegal COVID drugs across the border, outweighed them. Linn's longtime friend and business associate, Serge Botch, called Linn a mentor. While he says the sentence was fair, for him, the justice lies in recouping Linn's reputation that McDonald tarnished with his claims.
What matters today is that the truth, integrity, and good name are finally were recognized in court, and all the false allegations which brought up against Max in media previously were groundless.
Alongside Botch, 7 other close friends and family members of Linn, including his widow, provided victim impact statements. They said McDonald's betrayal led to Linn's fatal heart attack in December of 2021.